Hey Revolutionaries, I'm excited to bring you this week's episode with Nebojsa Savicic, where we're talking automated videos. Yes, Neb, I hope we got your name right. Neb is from Serbia, and it was super fun to talk to him because I learned a bunch about Serbia that I didn't know. We talked about the tech scene out there. But we're talking about automated video, and I know everyone out there has experienced automated video by now, whether they know it or not, really. From the big companies, from the Facebooks and the Googles of the world and Apple. I'm sure you've seen probably an automated collage that's been put together from your Google Photos app that, takes images from, all the waterfall images that you took over the last 2 years and puts them together in a collage for you, like automatically without you asking for them. Somehow they know how to do this. So this is what Neb has been concentrating on lately, and he's bringing this capability to the masses. Yes, so you as an individual entrepreneur, or just for a personal point of view, or for a small company, something like that, can pull data from any kind of database that's out there and start to create automated videos at scale. So that's the key, at scale, that this is being done, volumetrically, based on all the databases that are out there, things that you could pull from, like customer lists, for example, if you're a company. So I just want to get this across because it's a little bit of an esoteric topic, so I wanted to just put a little extra description in it up front here. But really check out this episode. It's really super cool, and we talk about Serbia and the tech scene out there, and Neb's backstory, of course, because he's got an interesting take on, he just started getting into tech early on when he was a teenager and really never had a job ever as an employee until this new company that he's a co-founder of. So check out this episode. I can't wait for everyone to hear it. But before we get there, real quick, I just wanted to remind everyone again, yes, I'm going to hammer this home. Don't forget about the new links that I got out there, or the new websites, whatever you want to call these things, to go to. One is Linktree, of course, and it's JimJim99, Linktree. So for those that know what Linktree is, you can go there and you can find all the links for the show. So you can find the links for website, the latest episode, and you can find the link for Ko-Fi Coffee if you want to show your love of the podcast through Ko-Fi, which is a donation-based type of software. Go there. You can find the link in Linktree, or you can go directly to Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/JimJim99, and go directly to the link. And of course, you can put in a one-time donation or a monthly donation to support content like this. Like I say, show your love, get this resonance happening. I'm putting out content. I'm putting all my heart and soul into it. And if you really dig it, reflect that back. Reflect that back to me, but also reflect it back for the community, the other people that are listening, and the other people that, when you find an episode and you think, oh, I have a friend who should hear that. Or my mom should probably be listening to this. Or, oh, my brother, this is what he was talking about. He needs to hear this. You know what I mean? So it's not just for you. Think about the community, too, that's listening to this type of content, and that, takes inspiration from it. Maybe it's the straw that finally gets you over that hurdle. That's like a mixed metaphor. That's a weird mixed metaphor. Okay, sorry about that. But, that makes you take action, right? That helps you change a behavior or break through or start to reinvent something that you've always been thinking about. So, anyways, think about that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right, enough about that. Back from Costa Rica. Man, Costa Rica was amazing. I should probably put some pictures on the Facebook page, which I'll try to do later today. But so I wanted to kind of get back across the border of the U.S., kind of get out of the country and back in, see how things were rolling these days since I haven't traveled like that in a while, kind of crack the seal on some international travel. Everything went smoothly for others that are wondering out there. But like I say, travel, of course, is one of my top ways to reinvent yourself. If you want to go to the website and download 7 ways to prime your mind for reinvention, one of them is with taking a solo travel trip, and that's what I did in Costa Rica. So it was pretty incredible down there. Anyways, I might maybe I'll throw out some details with an email on that too, because it was just super fun, and people might be interested in seeing that, I think. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get to Neb's episode where we're talking about automated video right now.
Welcome to Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast, the show that explores reinvention in the digital age as it relates to career, creativity, and technology. Stay tuned for interviews with professionals, entrepreneurs, and creatives that have reimagined success and are making a pivot. If you'd like to listen to the entire back catalog, visit jimreinventionrevolution.com for instant access. And now, here's your host, Jim.
Hey everybody, hey, this is Jim. Welcome to episode 99 of Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast. And I'm talking today with Nebojsa Savicic. Hopefully he'll correct me in a second here of getting his name right here. And we're talking about automated video production. So Neb, welcome to the Reinvention Revolution.
Hey Jim, thank you so much for having me, and your name pronunciation is spot on.
Okay, hey, all right.
Much better than most of Americans. So congrats
okay.
to you.
Well, I try to use my listening skills, to deal with that. Well, look, before we dig into this, I'm super excited to have you on, because when we connected, you said we had a kind of a common colleague or connection at least. So I want to give Jordan a shout out here, Jordan Carroll, who was on episode 67. So if you're out there listening, check out Jordan's episode, and you can mention the connection or not. I don't know how proprietary that is, but when I found out about you, where you were, it kind of piqued my interest. So you're sitting in Serbia. So before we start getting into what you're doing with video, tell everybody what's going on in Serbia and how it is in terms of technology or the tech scene, or what's going on with business over there. Like, tell me about it. I don't know much about Serbia.
All right, yeah, I'll try to explain Serbia in like as shortest period as possible, because it can go on and on.
I'm sure. Just give me like the overview, quick overview. Yeah.
Serbia actually, yeah, but I'll just go back to Jordan. Yeah, Jordan and I worked together. I worked as a freelancer for him. Maybe like in 2019 or something like that.
Okay.
Because previous, before Plainly, I was a freelance video editor, motion designer, and Jordan and I connected on Upwork, and I created some videos for him for quite a long time. And then as our business relationship ended, I just followed his work, and I was pretty stunned to see how far he came, and
right.
With this like remote coaching and everything, he obviously now is riding a huge wave. So
sure.
I'm pretty glad.
Yeah, he's killing it
for him. And the episode is great, by the way. So congrats to you both. So back to Serbia. Yeah, Serbia is a beautiful country in the Balkans. It's landlocked, surrounded by Croatia, Hungary, Montenegro. So unfortunately, we do not have sea access, but it's really close, we have some beautiful mountains and forests and everything.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of technology, it's pretty advanced. We have a lot of IT companies coming in, because we do have. It's not cheap labor. It's not like Philippines cheap, but it's not as expensive as some like Western countries.
Right.
And the people who work here all speak perfect English, or are very hardworking, and that's why a lot of companies see a lot of interest in coming into Serbia and having their development teams here. So currently the city I live in, Novi Sad, is pretty much the IT hub in Serbia, because if you're a developer here, you can just find a new job every day. So you can just hop from a company to a company and find new jobs. And in terms of infrastructure and everything, yeah, it's becoming an increasingly popular place for remote workers. So a lot of, just like today, I went out for lunch, and in the city center, I was surrounded by English, and I was so surprised by that.
Oh, interesting.
Because I heard more English than Serbian, which is pretty strange, but I was amazed by this.
Okay.
But yeah, people are seeing the beauty in Serbia and the value for money you get, and you can work remotely from here pretty easily. You have a lot of cheap flights to connecting like surrounding countries. You can go to Croatia very fast. You can go to Montenegro. I went to Spain over the summer for like 50 euros.
Oh wow!
So it's it's a pretty good location, and it has a lot of stuff to offer. So I'm pretty excited to be here. I'm pretty lucky. And also in terms of if you want to start your own business, it's an amazing place for a few reasons.
Okay.
And I always try to tell this to my peers who are not aware of this. Like, first thing, you are very connected to the rest of the world. I mean, you can, right now, you and me, Jim, we are like half of the world across.
Right.
And we can communicate, share ideas, and in that same way, you can sell and do marketing to the whole world from Serbia. It's not very, but it's cheap cost of living. So like $1,000 in Serbia is not as same like as $1,000 in the US.
Right.
And you have that. I call it a competitive advantage because in order for like a US startup to be ramen profitable, and let's say you have like 2 people, you have to earn what, like 10, 20K, right?
Right.
To be like, okay, we can pay ourselves salaries, we can survive, and we can put in the rest of the money back into business. In Serbia, you need like 5,000 or like 4,000.
I got you. Yeah.
So it's a competitive advantage, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And also you have a bunch of good, hardworking people around you that are, you have a lot of good developers, good marketing people, good salespeople, which you can poach, which are, around you, and they're all willing to work. So overall, I'd say it's a pretty good country, and it's in Europe, so you can just go wherever you want for very fast and very cheap if you don't like it.
Right, I gotcha. Well, I know it's close to Sofia, Bulgaria there, which seems to be kind of over the last, 5, 6, 8 years, kind of seem to be popping up as another nomad hotspot out there. So people are kind of figuring it out, and certainly post-pandemic where most people are more open to working online or moving around or finding those lower cost areas. I think it's a good spot. So cool. Thanks for sharing that, because I don't think that Serbia kind of pops up on people's radar screen right now, but sounds like a cool spot to be in. So, okay. So thinking about that, thinking maybe culturally, let's rewind a little bit, because I want to hear about your company, Plainly Videos. Is that what you would call it? Plainly Videos? Plainlyvideos.com?
Yeah, that's our website. Yeah.
That's your website.
Called Plainly.
Plainly, just Plainly. Okay, gotcha. So tell me about this automated video situation that's going on right now, because I was just digging into more of the applications, and I don't want to, steal your thunder here yet. I want you to describe it, but I'm seeing more and more video-oriented things out there. So tell me what's going on with video and what your approach is with Plainly.
All right. Well, video is the most powerful medium right now. Everybody's aware of that. Just look at social media. Like, everybody's pushing video right now. TikTok, Instagram, like, everybody wants to become TikTok because TikTok is video native.
Yep. And
because video is the most powerful medium in terms of how much information you can transmit in a second, let's say. Mm-hmm. If you try text, you can only transmit so much information. Audio is a level up, and then video, you have everything, and you can explain stuff pretty easily. You can sell stuff pretty easily. I mean, it's just the best medium. So, but video is hard to make, okay? And especially if you have a big library of things you want to say. Let's say you have tons of products you want to put out there,
Okay.
But creating, let's say you have 100 products or 200 products, creating 200 videos, that's a problem, because it will take your video editor or a freelancer or whoever a lot of time to actually create those 200 products. And let's say you're actually, in this case, we are speaking about social media ads. Those ads are pretty much the same. It's just the products are different, Mm-hmm. And that's why we figured out a solution where you can basically plug in your product feed, and add your template that you pre-created, you predefined, and then Plane will do the rest of it, and it will create 200 videos with those products automatically without any added work to your team.
Right.
So now you can have a big library of things you want to say. You have this template, and the videos will just pop out automatically without you having to do anything. That's just one of the use cases I use to explain Planely, because in a nutshell, Planely is a video automation tool that allows users to create thousands of videos automatically by connecting a video template and a data source. And that data source can be anything.
Right.
From a podcast library, an RSS feed, a spreadsheet, it could be a product feed, it could be whatever, your internal database, an external API, or whatever. So when I started explaining that way, people don't really know what I'm talking about.
Right, it sounds a little more complicated, I guess.
Yeah, but when I put it in a use case, it makes much more sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, when we were first talking, and I went through this demo with you, which is we'll talk about in a second here, I was like, wait a second, it seems super complicated to me. I'm like, this is overwhelming. I'm not sure I could take advantage of this or whatever. And I started to kind of absorb it. This is what I like to do, is like I kind of do research on guests and people that I have on, and let my brain work on it a little, stew on it a little bit. And I figured out, here's for people that are listening, for example, I don't know if you have like Google Photos as an application on your phone, Android phone, or maybe you have an Apple phone, whatever it is. But sometimes Google will put together an automated video of the past photo album that you have on your phone. And it's like, how did it do this? It's got basically a database of your photos. It's got your face in it, and it might have a theme to it. Like, hey, it might be all with your face and a waterfall in the background. And there's 10 pictures that you have of that. And it finds it from years ago, from 4 years ago, from recently or whatever. And it puts this collage together. And you're like, how did it know to do that? You didn't even tell it to do that. So this is kind of the video kind of, application or thing that you can put together that's just kind of on a personal basis. But this is the automation part that Neb is talking about, how you can pull from a database, whatever that database is, and put together customized short videos and really scale it.
Yeah, that's the key here.
Yeah, that's the key. So if you think about applying it to to your company that's out there, like that you're selling products, like if you're an e-commerce drop shipping person, and it's like, hey, all my products I want to create videos for, how do I do that? My software doesn't do that for me automatically, or you want to customize it into a certain way that you want to do it, or you want to send it out through your email list or whatever it might be. It started to click for me anyways. That's the point. And it's like, aha, this is the guy that takes care of the back end. Planely will take care of the back end. All I need to do is have that vision of what kind of video I want to put together, what style of video, right?
Jim, we should hire you as a salesman. Do you want a gig?
Okay.
Because I feel like you can work remotely.
All right. Hey, man, maybe we can work something out later on, man. But no, I want people to get the vision of what this is, because I was like, now wait a second, I need to learn more about, like, the reason I have people like you on. Okay, well, it's many reasons, but one of the reasons is, the applications and the technology can be so complicated. And it can be overwhelming for people, and they kind of miss the point, and they just shut down. And it's like, I can't do anything. I can't use any of this stuff. It's too complicated. I don't know how to apply it. I don't know what the value is. I don't know what I would do with any of this stuff. So my goal is to kind of really help people understand, like, oh my God, this can be done. This is really happening. Yes, this is really happening. So you could have, like, I was just thinking for some interesting use cases for thank you letter, for example. So let's say you have 1,000 clients, and whenever they sign up for some service that you have, but you want the little video that you send back to them customized, right? It's like, well, I want it customized to the application they actually signed up for, the service. But I want their name in it, and I want maybe the geography, because you have some other database information, have the address of where they're from or something, for example. And you could put 3 of those elements in the video, automated wise. So you just set up this template, it's in the background running, you don't have to do anything new once you put it together, And every client that signs up gets this customized, thank you letter or welcome letter or whatever it might be. Or you're running a conference and somebody signs up for the conference, and it's like all of a sudden you get an automated email thanking you and having this little blurb about the conference and, getting you excited to come to the conference. There's just tons of different applications.
This is your engineering background coming in, and that's why you're able to explain this in such like a simple term, even though it's the product I'm working on. So,
right.
Congrats, Jim. Thank you. Well, it's probably because I'm so deep into the product every day that you don't even have time to take 2 steps back and, as you said, like process and try to, I don't know, simplify it. I always try to go. I always maybe complicate things a bit.
Right.
But that's just how I am. So
no, that's okay. Well, I appreciate it because so when you're saying this stuff, let's talk about the demo a little bit here. So I appreciate you going deep because I like to know how things work. I think that's my scientific mind. Like I've been in engineering and science and around science and technology, but at heart, I really think I'm just more of a scientist. I like to observe and just figure out why does that work? How does it work? And really, what value is it to me as a human being? That's just kind of how my mind works. And that's what's fun for me to figure out, to like kind of, and then once I figure it out, I'm like, I kind of lose interest, and it's like, okay, I don't need to do the detailed engineering part. I know how it works or whatever, or I know what it's for. But if I don't, it really piques my interest. So, and that's why I wanted to do this demo with you. And when we did the demo, so if you go to the website, right, plainlyvideos.com.
Plainlyvideos.com, yeah.
Okay. You can sign up for a little 15-minute demo. So Neb comes on here, and we did the demo, and we went right down into the details. So it's like, tell people what the demo is if they're interested in checking it out.
Yeah, well, it's different for other kinds of people. I went straight into the technicalities with you just because I knew that that's the only thing you're interested in. But basically, the demo is like a 15-minute casual conversation. I'm not a good salesman, so don't expect me to be a pushy salesman.
Right.
Unless we hire Jim. But the demo is just like us understanding what are the needs. What are your needs, and how does Plainly basically come in and solve your problems and help you with your needs. And then after the demo, I'll show you how to exactly do that with our tool if I see that there is a problem that we can actually help you with.
Right.
And the demo is basically, showing you, okay, here is the template. And we show you an example template. I show you like some insurance template, if I remember correctly. And here is a database. And then I just show you how Plainly can create, for example, 10 videos in 5 seconds. Right. And that database is usually a Google Sheet with a lot of data, like, I don't know, addresses, images, names, or something that's being personalized in the video itself.
Right. And
then you can really visualize, okay, we have a template here, and we have this set of data, and I don't have to manually go in and change the details of the video with every video. I can just tell Plainly, pick up this data, take this template, and create these personalized videos for me automatically. So that's what demo is. It evolved over time. It wasn't that always, but now I try to simplify it as much as I can and just show you the core value of our product.
Right. I got you. Well, yeah, I was curious about how you did it, so it's like, how does this come together? So yeah, you need a database of some sort. So that could be a spreadsheet, kind of at a basic level.
Spreadsheet is something that everybody understands. Right. That's what I figured out, because I was showing them, okay, you can do RSS feeds, you can do Shopify feeds, you can do your CRM, your internal database. That's then people are like, okay, but we don't use a CRM, or we are not an e-commerce client. How does that apply for us? And then, all right, everybody uses spreadsheets. So
right, exactly.
It's the easiest way to demonstrate the value.
Right. Like here's another example. You got my mind thinking about all the cool applications you could pull together. But like from the engineering world, where you're doing, let's say, like final end of testing on a line, like on a production line, right? And you want your customer to understand, hey, that your product got tested, and at the final test, it passed the test, right? And all that information goes into a database, of course, right? Well, now you can make a little video, and it's like, so every unit that comes off the line, you can have a video attached to it that has all the specs, has the final sheet that's showing the final, thumbs up or whatever it is that says, hey, we tested it, passed all the tests, and here it is. And that could be sort of a, edification for the quality of your product, for example. And that could go out directly to your end customer and say, like, hey, we shipped you the thing, and here it is. Here it came off the line, and here's the inspection report, like right there, automated.
Yeah, and because it's a video, you can explain things very easily instead of, like, for example, if you're sending this to your end customer, they're not going to even read if you send them like an email or a PDF or something.
That's right,
but if it's an engaging 30-second to a 60-second video that's, nicely designed, I mean, everybody's going to watch that.
Right.
And because it's fun, it displays the information in the best possible way, and it's just the best way to explain something. And I'm a bit biased because before Blaney, I was a motion designer, and I was, doing freelance stuff. And oftentimes my job was understanding complicated stuff and explaining it in a form of video. For example, I've worked for these like big corporate clients, for like McKinsey or something,
Right.
And they come in with some research or something, and they say, okay, we want to explain to our clients why this research we did makes sense and why they should invest more money into this. And then, because their clients are not often like the type of people that want to read long emails, or because that video needs to go to a broader audience that actually doesn't understand all of the bits and pieces,
right?
Then I have to actually read the research, and which is also the most fun part, because I'm learning a ton of stuff. But it's also the most boring stuff because you're reading PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, and all that boring corporate stuff, and trying to actually convert that into an engaging video that everybody is going to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm biased toward video, and I think that's the best medium to convey information.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Well, like I said, I think this is a natural evolution of kind of how once social media came on and all the applications of like photos and, making the world more visual and more video oriented, kind of video first. This is natural evolution to get these tools out there that now you as an individual entrepreneur, small company, even large company, can now have access to these kinds of tools that maybe only Google had or Facebook had or whatever, That's what's interesting about what Plainly's doing. But there's another interesting thing about you in particular that I want to bring up, and and that other than you're in Serbia, which is cool too. But you've never had a job, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. You've never been an employee, let's say,
except in Plainly.
Yeah, you're 25 or something around there, right? So, again, this is sort of an interesting, observation or reflection of the times, I guess, of what's going on. So, how did you get into learning this stuff early on as a kid? Like, what got you into it, and when? Like, how old were you?
Yeah, it's an interesting fact about me, but I worked since high school, so I'm 25 now, and I've been working since I was 17 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say 17, 18, that's when I started to work. And then by the time I should go to university, that's when I really focused on work, and that's why I quit university after a year. But yeah, I was in high school, and I was always the small chubby kid who was playing on the computers, whether that be games and trying out different kind of tools, and it was as it could be as simple as trying to figure out formulas in Excel. I did that because it was fun. And
well, fun for you, I guess. That's interesting. It's interesting. Like, not everybody wants to play around with Excel when they're 17, I guess.
Well, it was amazing to me that I could just put in some numbers there and other numbers come out. If I do like a bit of a formula.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was always playing around computers, and when I was in high school, I played around with VFX and like video editing and trying to kill my brother, or like a car hits us or something like that. My mom was very pissed.
Oh my god!
But it was fun again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because we were running around the house with like plastic pistols, and then I would actually like putting muzzle flashes and flares into the final video, and then I would show it to my mom, and of course, because I'm the big brother, I would always kill my brother, and there would be blood everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And mom was very pissed.
Yeah, can't like that as a mom.
I got into that, and then, I was telling to my friends, and I don't know how, but one of my professors in high school actually heard about that I was playing around computers and I was doing a bit of video editing on the side. And he told me like, hey, Nebojsa, I know you're, playing around with video editing. You should try this site called Upwork. And I was like, okay, what's that? He told me that it's like a freelance platform. You can earn some money or something like that. And I was immediately cooked. When I heard money, when you're in high school,
that sounds fun.
you wanna have more money to spend on parties,
right?
So I immediately, like that day, I came home, I made an account on Upwork, and because I was underage, I made an account with my dad's ID and my dad's info, which I later on was able to change, but I'm lucky that they didn't figure out and ban my account. Or maybe they did, I don't remember actually.
Yeah.
But I know that I used my dad's ID for the first sign up. And then slowly but surely I learned about freelancing, and I didn't earn any money for like 2 years. It's very funny because
were you able to have projects, or you just didn't even get a project for 2 years?
No. I got some projects.
Yeah.
Some people were like, okay, you can do just like basic editing work, like cut these videos. But and back then there wasn't so much competition. I mean, there was some competition, but not like now.
It takes a while to get known, though, right?
Yeah, but I didn't have any skills in terms of business. I had some skills in terms of I can do video editing and stuff.
Right.
But I didn't know how to write a cover letter. I didn't know how to communicate why you should hire me and not the other guy.
Yeah.
Which I kind of learned over the time, but it's a funny story that my girlfriend actually got into freelancing a year ago, and she's a social media manager.
Oh, okay.
And I'm so jealous of her because I teach her everything I do. I know.
Right, sure.
And she's already making some good money after like not even a year.
Nice.
Yeah, and I told her, all right, do you realize that I was like working for 2 years and I earned like $300 in total for those 3 years?
Right.
But yeah, back to my story. And I don't know what kept me doing it. I guess because I didn't have anything else to do. I was, I'm pretty persistent. I can be pretty stubborn. And so I just kept at it, kept sending emails. I tried to find as much resources as I can find on like freelancing and business and all of that stuff.
Right.
And I still couldn't get any jobs. And then I tried, I improved my portfolio over time, and then I realized, okay, let me see how other successful freelancers are doing this. And that's when I searched for it was something like all of the freelancers that earned over 50K that are in Serbia, and that are in my industry.
Oh, interesting.
And I found a couple of guys. Yeah, and I found a couple of guys. And I wanted to be in Serbia because I had this idea that, okay, I'll message them and I'll go work for them. That was my thought process, because I want to see how it's done. I want to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a couple of guys, and I cold emailed them out of the blue. Two of them I cold emailed, and to one guy I sent a Facebook request when Facebook was a thing. And then I sent them a Facebook request, and I messaged them, and I said, okay, I'm doing this thing. I saw your Upwork. Can you give me some tips?
Mm-hmm.
And his name is JJRR Savicic. And by the way, I'm like forever in debt to JJRR because he taught me a lot of things. Yeah, he told me basically, let me see your portfolio. I sent him my portfolio, and he told me, okay, all of your stuff is video editing. Like, video editing is very competitive. That's why you're not getting jobs. Try motion graphics. Motion graphics. What's that? let me quickly Google that.
Right.
And then I discovered what motion graphics actually is. And he told me, learn about this, try out a few projects, and get back to me when he has something to show me. And then I did some research, as it usually goes. I looked up tutorials, and I tried to mimic tutorials and make my own projects. I basically said, and this is a framework I try to tell people whenever somebody comes and says, okay, I want to learn motion graphics, how do I do it? Because I have friends coming in and saying that, and I say to them, look at tutorials and think of a project you want to create. Let's say you want to create a 30-second ad for an iPhone, and you want to make it a motion graphics ad and you want to make it 2D or 3D or whatever. It doesn't make sense. Have a project in your mind and just try to create that project. You will run into thousands of problems.
Right.
But what you can do then is you can Google the basic queries: how to create a new After Effects project, how to set up lighting, how to create a storyboard, instead of typing in how to do motion graphics, because that's not going to lead you anywhere.
Right, it's too general.
And that's what I did. I created a few projects and I sent to JJRR, and he was like, okay, this is not good. I see the potential. Yeah. I see the potential, but these are not good. And then I went back and practiced a bit. And after, I'd say it was probably like something like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me I sent him my newest portfolio, and he was like, all right, this is
starting to get it together.
I have a project coming in. I want you to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I can still remember that day because I went back. I was so ecstatic. This is my first project. I'm earning money. Okay. And it was.
So we hired you then. So that's like the insight for maybe people to take away is like, find people in your industry, find like-minded people, connect with them. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Find like-minded people, offer your free help in exchange for learning.
Yeah.
Because those people they don't have everything figured out, but even if they are just a couple of steps ahead, they can save you a lot of time just for those couple of steps. They can guide you in the right direction. They can tell you what to learn and how to, they can show you the shortcuts.
Right.
It's not a shortcut in terms of you will spend less time or it's less work. Right. But you won't have to look for those solutions yourself. They will tell you what's the solution.
So was this first project, was that an eye opener in terms of you thinking, hey, maybe I could really do this then for my job or career? Or how long did it take in terms of now you got a little in, now you're making some money? What was the next thought in your mind there, I guess?
The next thought was how I'm going to spend the money.
Okay.
No, after that thought, I was pretty excited because I was in the industry, let's say.
Right. Yeah.
It's exciting, but no, I didn't have that clear of a thought process. I just went in, I did that one project, and then he said, okay, I have another project, and I just kept doing projects.
I gotcha.
Yeah. There wasn't a point in my life where I thought, okay, I can actually do motion design for a living, or this is my path. I want to be a motion designer.
Right.
Like, just everything went gradually, step by step. I was like the frog that's slowly cooking. That was me, but in a good way, because after like a couple of years, if you rewind, I was just like working freelance for much bigger clients. I was doing much better work, and I was living pretty comfortably from that. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a point where I realized I want to do that.
And the relationship was always a freelance relationship, right? You weren't an employee. He was just paying you as a freelancer, right?
That's right. Yeah, he was just sending me money on a project basis. I never was an employee. And from there, when I saw a couple of projects and how they function and how like the industry works, I was able to. I got the knowledge I got the insights, like industry insights, which helped me to look in the right ways.
Right.
And from there, I could expand on my business skills, on my marketing skills, on my motion design skills. Because if you want to run a freelance business, which if you're a freelancer, you're basically a one-man business.
Right.
You have to also develop these other skills like marketing, sales, like general business skills. But I was able to acquire those skills over time with working with George, and then slowly I got other clients, other bigger clients, and up until 2 years ago, I was full-time motion designer. That's the only thing I did. Yeah, and then 2 years ago, I decided I want to do something else. I don't want to trade my time for money, and that's when I started Plainly.
I see. Okay, so it was more of a targeted thing. It's like, hey, I want to create a product or a different style of company or different way to work, so that you're not always trading time for money.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was a very brief decision, and that's, I don't know, is it because I'm very young and unexperienced, but that's how I make decisions. I had this idea. I don't want to trade money for time. And the next thought was, okay, let's create a business.
Right. Yeah.
And I could have done a bit more research. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah, we talked a little bit before we came on, or a couple of days ago, about just diving into something. But that's I think that's just the trail of an entrepreneur. I mean, you have to kind of go down those trails. You have to learn by experience. You have to get burned a little bit and be frustrated a little bit, and till you learn those lessons of, where you can kind of bring all the things together, like I was talking about, sort of in the advanced development world, where it's like you have all these technologies and applications and processes and stuff that you can use, but you have to have this vision about human behavior, pain points. Like, what are you trying to? What's the niche? What's the market audience? Who are you really trying to speak to? What's the problem that you're really trying to solve? And be interested in getting that feedback of is this thing working for you or not? I just thought about it in my brain, but I'm not sure it's the right thing. You have to have that humility about the way you approach it.
Yeah, and actually doing that before you spend time and resources in product development.
Right.
Actually doing that research, finding the pain points, finding your target customer, finding what's the right type of solution, what's the right set of features and everything that will actually solve the problem for them. Because when I first started, I started from a solution standpoint, not from a problem standpoint, which is a huge mistake if you're starting out.
Right.
Because you wanna really research what's the problem your solution is solving, and not like having a solution that comes into your mind and being like, all right, let's build this and let's then find a problem to solve with that solution.
Right.
It's a backward ways of thinking, but I think that's just like how an unexperienced entrepreneur, which I am still right now, thinks.
Right.
And that's why I want to, point that out.
Right. For sure. Well, I mean, it's, like I said, it's very common. It's especially the more technical you are, it's very common, because the technology people, they just fall in love with the technology and they just think everybody's going to love it just like they do, without understanding, no, there's got to be a real application, a real problem to be solved, or, you have to do something real with it. It can't be just for the technology's sake.
Yeah.
But when you're getting your PhD in something or whatever, you're thinking like, oh my God, look what I have, and you want to tell people about it. It's so interesting. Well, Neb, it's been great having you on the podcast. There's always a question or two towards the end I like to ask people. One is, even though it's just been a short time through your sort of reinvention from freelancer to creating this new business of Plainly, what's a reinvention revelation you can share with the audience, something you've learned along the way that you really wouldn't have imagined or couldn't have imagined until you've been sitting here like right now with Plainly and doing what you're doing?
All right. So I have this philosophy that I always tell people, which I read it in a it's a very, I don't like the book, but it's 4-Hour Work Week, because it's very I don't know. I just don't like that book so much. But it had this one bit which is called the fear setting. And fear setting is what basically guides me through life, and that's asking yourself the question of what's the worst that can happen. And throughout my whole, let's say, reinvention, I always ask that question. I always ask myself that question, because what's the worst it can happen if I try this, or if I try start a business? In my case, and it's very personal, it's very very specific to the person that's asking that question. But for me, I'll just tell you what my thought process was. It was, when I started Plainly, it was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I can fail, and maybe I will be a bit embarrassed. That's it. I won't starve. I won't be kicked out on the street. I can find a job. I can find a job. I can work as a waiter or something.
Right.
That's the worst that can happen. A bit of embarrassment.
Yep.
And when you really put it that way, I think that it removes a lot of fear of trying new stuff and trying to reinvent yourself. Because if you really ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? I think that can release your full potential, and you can actually start doing the things that you actually want to do, and the things that can maximize your potential and bring the greatest outcome. That's something that you are really destined to do, and that will bring you a lot of value and happiness throughout your life.
Right. Well, I like that phrase you said, release your full potential. I mean, maybe that sounds very, esoteric or up in the clouds, but I think there's really something behind that in terms of just a lot of us, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably in a situation where, monetary resources or food resources, whatever, these aren't your largest issues. Maybe health is not your largest issue. Maybe you have some family things going on. There's always opportunities to try new things, and it really is tackling that fear in your mind that is the limit. That's the limiting thing. And if you can tackle that, tackle the embarrassment or whatever might happen, let's say in the worst case, I think you will be able to just find out more of who you are, find out more what you're capable of, right? And I think that's just part of interesting thing you can bring to the world. You can help people with, help yourself with, help your friends and family with. So.
Yeah, and I want to sorry to interrupt, because as you were speaking, I realized one more thing, and that's maybe some people that are listening to this will be like, okay, it's easy for you to say you don't have anything. I mean, I don't have a family. I'm living pretty cheaply and all that. Like, for me, like, the worst case scenario is actually, running out of money and not being able to provide to my family. But in that case, you can try a scaled down version of what you really want to do. That's not going to cost you the worst case scenario. That's not going to lead you to that worst case scenario. But it will be a stepping stone towards your final goal and final destination.
Okay.
But the mental model of trying to release your fear by imagining the worst case scenario and thinking like it's not that bad,
Right.
That's what's going to really release your full potential.
I gotcha. Well, I like that. Be prudent. I mean, obviously you need to do that, right? Let's not throw caution to the wind. But tackling that fear in your mind is, every day I wake up and try to fight it,
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, day in, day out. I mean, the longer, I was joking around with a friend of mine the other day. It's like, the longer you live, the weirder life gets, because you've had more experiences and you've had more challenges, and you see how your mind reacts to all the different challenges, and the things you thought were super important, when you're 25, all of a sudden it's like, what was I thinking? And when you're 27, it's like, it's just incredible the twists and turns that you get to see, and the weird fears that pop up because of all the twists and turns, so that's just a constant thing you got to deal with. That's how we're wired as human beings. Well, Neb, it's been awesome having you on. If people are interested in Plainly videos, where would you send them, or getting in touch with you, or learning more about what you're up to?
Okay, yeah, I'm not that active on social media, but you can check out plainlyvideos.com.
Okay.
And you can also add me on LinkedIn. That's the only real social media I use.
Okay.
You can send me an email on neb@plainlyvideos.com, and I'll answer all your questions if you have them. And I'm also always open to talking to fellow entrepreneurs. That's why I was asking you so much questions before the podcast, Jim, because I'm curious about people, and I'm always willing to help if there is something that I can help with. So, but basically Plainly Videos and my LinkedIn and my email, that's where you want to go. Okay,
I gotcha. Well, me too, Neb. Thanks for the conversations offline and online here today. And I love sharing too. So, and I love helping people out that I have on the podcast. So, people listening out there, if you're interested in videos or automating something, or just learning more about Nebojsa, that's how you say your name, right? Okay, Nebojsa Savicic. I need to practice my Serbian. Learn more about Serbia. By the way, I looked up a couple fun facts about Serbia. Population.
All right, let me hear them.
Population is about 7 million.
That's right.
The GDP is about $52.9 billion US dollars per year. Just so you kind of have a feeling for how big the place is and what's going on there. So check it out. If you're in Eastern Europe, drop in to see what's going on in Serbia, people. Okay.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Send me an email. I'd love to. If anybody from your listeners is coming to Serbia on a tour of Novi Sad or Belgrade,
that'd be great.
The capital. Yes. Shoot me an email or send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'd love to have you over.
That would be cool. Definitely, if I get over there, I'm going to reach out to you, man. So I'm getting back on the travel tip soon. Here, actually, I'm leaving Friday to go to Costa Rica. Finally, some international travel after this pandemic time. So, trying to get back out there. All right, thank you, sir.
Safe travels, Jim, and thank you so much for having me. This was a blast, and I really enjoyed meeting you and hearing about you and everything. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you for listening to Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast. If you want to hear more, join our mailing list at jimjimsreinventionrevolution.com. See you next time, and remember, the revolution has just begun. So dig in, embrace the process of reinvention, and start realizing the success you've always dreamed of. Hey, revolutionaries, if you enjoyed today's episode and today's guest, let them know by commenting on their Facebook page, finding their Twitter handle or Instagram feed, and letting them know you heard them on Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast, and tell them what you got out of the episode, what you really liked, or how they inspired you. I know they would get a kick out of it and will help others find the same value that you found.